I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. You are now watching the legend, so sit back and let the show begin. The pro is in, know it's in, but go and get me loaded in. And no offense, but the suckers ain't got close to no chance. I'm gonna win, my flow is so much doper than an opiate. Oh my lord, here we go again, it's going on and on, though. You can catch me up in that jungle, I'll be going ape like Congo. Get them points like Pronto, wanna hit them up with that gun blow, that triple double Lonzo, that combo. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. Now it's my time, dog. I'm on my way to become an icon. Job to get your climb on, to get to the level that I'm on. I am the greatest of all time, man, and I won't stop until the whole world's up in my hand. I can't see my rise up on the horizon. I've been out here grinding, trying to leave a legacy, and ain't nobody next to me, cause I'm a different pedigree. Ain't no one impressing me, so step to me, cause I got all my weaponry. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping.
Welcome, everyone, to the VCU LCS Roundup, featuring Week 1 and 2, with some couple of stray games that have yet to be played. I am here with Wandon and Shane to start off with our new show, 1 or 2, that may or may not have been ripped off of LCS's This or That. Say hi to the stream, guys.
Yo, why do you gotta call us out like that?
You really didn't have to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome. 1 or 2 with Brandon and Pooh. I'm 2-0 and he is
Wisher.
0-2.
Well, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles, ain't it?
Yeah. So we got some slides with some spicy debate topics that you guys cooked up for us.
We haven't seen any of them yet, so we're gonna
Yeah.
go in blind to it.
Indeed, we do. For some reason, my screen share is not working. Oh, there it is. All right. We can jump straight into it if you guys are ready. I don't see any.
I'm ready.
Yep.
All right, 1 or 2. Bigger surprise: Dogecoin to the moon 2-0 or Washington Everfrost 0-2.
Oh, you want to take this one, Brandon, first?
I don't think either is like Okay. First, you have to look at Dogecoin's fucking schedule. Like they played Sniped, and to say that they beat Sniped is not like a surprise. I think them beating Everfrost, my team, was in fact an upset. However, I'm not too surprised. That you go into every season being like, Wisher's team can always fucking in. So how surprised can you really be? If I had to say a bigger surprise though, I would probably say Everfrost 0-2.
Yeah,
Considering
I would say you guys are considering your schedule of Dogecoin and an Allison-less VSK.
yeah, I think it's 2 definitely.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next question. Who's going to win Name Pending or the Whooper Syndicate, 1 or 2?
For Syndicate, bro.
I think this game's going to be closer than people expect, but I still think it's 2. The Whooper Syndicate are probably gonna win. I think Name Pending's gonna get like a fucking. I think Name Pending could legitimately get a 15k gold lead in 15 minutes and still lose.
Nah, this game's gonna be over in 25 minutes, bro. There's
you
no
sure?
chance. Yes, I'm positive.
I'm just saying, if you look at the individual 1-to-1 matchups, it's not that bad for Name
I
Pending.
I think Whooper is crazy. Like their team is so insane. They just get like their early game is fucking nuts. Vinny and Josh and Kolma just like 3-man walk together somewhere.
I think that may be a bit of an overhype. I think they're a solid team, but their early game I think is what I consider their weakest. They don't really have a
I mean, who's
real
gonna win the game on name pending?
motherfucking Big Ichi, man. When he's not
Uh,
playing Syndra.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he's not playing against just Josh. He's playing against Josh, Vinny, and Kolma. He's not gonna have a fun time.
I mean, he has experience playing versus Benit and Kolma. Had to do it multiple times. I think
Um,
I'm still picking
two,
2. I just think
two,
this game is
two, two.
closer
Go
than
next. Go next.
people
It's
are
2.
assuming.
All right, pretty overwhelmingly in favor of 2. We'll go next. Better week 1 Rel, 1 or 2, Carouse or 4G?
4G not that close.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Caruso entered early game, 4G didn't.
I mean, Cruz kind of went like Cruz just straight up won them 3 team fights in a row just from like an ulti.
I would say that 4G damn near did the same thing, but didn't end early game.
Yeah. I mean, that one's hard. I just the Cruz game was just
Listen,
so
man.
hype. Like the 4G game just made me fall asleep. So I don't know.
Caruso, they solo died to Kim and Eric's P.
Yeah, but he went crazy. I don't know. I probably 4G, but I'm gonna give it to Cruz because I actually stayed to watch that entire game. 4G's game was just
I
Resident
watched
Sleeper.
both. I think 4G had a better singular performance than Caruso. But not I think their like mid to late games were pretty similar. Just 4G didn't end early.
True. I say 1. He says 2.
All right, so Shane says 1, Brandon says 2. On to the next question. Best week 1 Hecarim, 1, 2, or 3, J. Clem, Colma, Elvino?
I don't think this one's that big of a discussion either. I think it's Elvin. Competition, Shane. Who are they playing against?
I mean, yeah, but like, did Elvin just kind of got like garbage kill? Like he had one team fight, he just won, but like it's not like he was like, I think it's
Alright.
Elvin. I think it's Elvin, but Kolma just look like you don't think about Kolma because the rest of his team was winning so hard, but he was actually like doing a lot.
Como was doing a lot. J. Clem did got what like a triple or quad or something like in the first 3 minutes of the game. But if we're looking at like competition, Como was playing against Kiyoshiman, and J. Clem was playing
Yeah,
against
that's true. That's true.
Praneeth, and I love
I mean,
everyone in
yeah,
this tournament, but
I think
one
it's
Elvin was
Elvin.
playing against a challenger jungle. So
It's Elvin. I could see an argument for Kolma though.
I would actually put J. Clem above. If I had to rank, I'd put 3-1 too. I think one ran over the early game a bit more. But yeah, that's pretty I think we both agree on 3 as the
Yeah.
pretty definitive answer.
All right, 3, Elvin taking the cake for best week 1 Hecarim. Best mid VCU, Wish 3R, Big Ichi, aka Dio Brandon, or equivalent. 1, 2, or 3.
I mean, you have to just go based on the games they've played, I would say. So
I mean, who the fuck is Dio Brandon?
yeah, that's true. That's Big Ichi's legendary Smurf. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely not Brandon. I know that.
Yeah. Are we talking solo queue or are we talking like?
I'm talking about the games you have played this VCU
Oh, it's
LCS
equivalent.
season.
Not.
Yeah, I would say equivalent also. Just
Oh.
going off of these games, but if you want to talk about
'Cause
lifetime,
Dio
then
Brandon hasn't played a single game in VC LCS. So.
yeah, yeah, definitely equivalent if you're just saying these two games.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just talking about lifetime, Brandon's definitely the best.
All right. Well, equivalent taking the cake for best mid VCU. We'll move on to the next question. Who's going to win, Sniped or Rams of Vendetta? This is an interesting one. What are your
Is this
thoughts?
actually a next week game?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be a
We're
banger.
spoiled with bangers, dude.
Yeah.
Rams of Vendetta.
Rams of Vendetta.
Yeah, I think it's Rams of Vendetta.
Uh,
I think actually Rams of Vendetta has a better bot lane. It sounds like meme, but just look at the performances. I think one Kai'Sa wouldn't build Ravenous Hydra. Uh, I think they have a who sniped top laner again?
it's Charlie.
Oh yeah, it's Charlie. And then what? It's like a sort of
Charlie
Legion.
Goner to. I don't know. Like I'd have to see draft, but like these are
it's
two
two okay,
awful,
okay.
awful
It's two
teams.
it's two bad teams on paper, but one has the higher ranked player. So I'd go with two. I'd go with not two the player, two the choice.
Yeah, I'll go with Rams also.
Yeah, I think as long as David doesn't lock in Lee Sin, then they probably get to win by merit of like he's gonna fuck around and put up like 10 kills in 10 minutes on whoever's jungling first
Yeah,
night.
I think Rams.
Honor, yeah, it's
But
Rams.
like if they just in draft, like it could be anyone's game.
But both teams could realistically
Yeah.
in drafts. Fat Cow in the chat saying Brandon has been wrong
Brandon
every
has
game.
been wrong
This
every
is
game.
true. I have
so
not predicted
Snipe,
what.
put your bets on sniped.
I am perfect. I have a perfect record in wrong prediction. So if I'm predicting your team, let's just say name pending might actually have a chance because Snipe might get a win here. You know.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 2 for Brandon. What do you say, Shane?
Yeah, Rams probably.
All right.
Unless their draft isn't.
Just wait for Brandon to bet and go opposite. Big brain on red.
2 for each. All right. Bigger underperformer, Wish 3R or Dog? We did see Wish 3R get clapped by Equivalent, and we did see Dog get clapped by Kagero and Crit Go Bonk. So, who is the bigger underperformer?
What'd you say, Brandon? You
I
haven't
haven't
been
been
solo
solo
killed?
killed.
I mean, I would say Brandon, and I'm not trying to flame, but like,
Oh no, I've been underperforming definitely.
I just think like from Dog, like I expect more, but like, not like
You expect Dog to end?
not as much as I expect from like you. So like, I don't know. Just you're like farther
It
than
depends
from
on
what
like
I would
what
expect.
you consider the. I think if you consider me and Dog to have the same expectations, then it's Dog. But if you consider me to have higher expectations, then it's
Yeah, I would say you have higher expectations, so you're like bigger underperformer.
So it's a 1 from Shane. What were you thinking about, Brandon?
I would say it's probably a 1. It's probably me.
Dude,
Okay.
all of these slides are just
I
flaming
haven't
me,
get,
bro.
I haven't been solo killed. Hey, I'm the VCLCS villain.
These slides are set up to slander your name.
All right, Wisher continuously getting slandered with every single slide. Let's move on to the next one. Who's more in need of assistance, Tony Bayoragalu or Bao Slender Mo Chow?
Definitely Tony. Like I don't even need
Definitely
a
Tony. It is not close. This
like
is
free
very
free
clearly
bow
Tony.
from what? He said pick me Lulu. Like he put himself in that situation.
Yeah, listen. I mean, if you want to look at specifically this slide, and ignore the actual games, it looks like more of a free bow because Tony's 1 in 9. But if you watch the games, it's very clearly a free Tony situation.
Yeah.
Definitely one.
All right, very overwhelmingly in favor of Bayo Rauga, 80 MVP last season. Should move on to the next one. Who is going to the moon? VSK, the Very Sultry's Kings, or Dogecoin?
Do they play next?
Is
We
it-
don't
is it
play.
next
We don't play until like the end of the season.
You guys are just both 2-0, right?
Yeah, we're just both 2-0
Yeah.
right now.
VSK over Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Played both those
VSK.
teams and one's better than the other.
VSK. I think there's a bit of a difference in the top lane that is going to be hard to overcome.
J Clem is good in the jungle. I said it last season too.
Mm-hmm.
His team just fell apart.
Proxy's good enough to just.
Proxy can play Malzahar. Disgusting,
Yeah.
but he can do it.
He can play someone with CC.
He can lock in the champion.
It's literally just if your bot lane goes crazy enough, and if Dane goes crazy enough.
Fair enough.
I
So, overwhelmingly
VSK.
in the favor of 1 for the Very Sultry Kings.
Yeah.
And I think that is it for 1 or 2 with Wisher and Pooh. One is 0-2, another is 2-0.
True.
All right, so that is the end of the 1 or
You messed
2.
that up. You mean one is 2-0 and
One is 2-0,
0-2.
other is 0-2. Yeah, there we go. It's been a long day, but it's fine. Every day's a long day. But that rounds it up for 1 or 2. I think it's now time for me to transition over to the Iron Man chat and bring us over to talk about some more interesting things. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
I was fed his lies.
All
that
right,
he was
I'm
going
here.
To destroy.
All right, I'm
That's
here,
gonna
guys.
happen.
I'm here. All
Hello, Lokesh.
Let me screen share to you guys, and let's move on, and we'll talk about our roundup. Starting with this, and I will shut up so Connor can be the host rather than me.
He slanders my name before we get started.
Whoa. Are we running?
We are
Yeah,
running.
we've
Oh,
been
we're
running.
running. Host me, Connor.
Okay. Welcome to the VCU LCS Roundup, boys. We're up again. We have me, Connor, hosting this lovely show. Then we have Dane, the renowned VSK top laner, and then we have 2 others. We have Red Lightning and Benit.
Yeah, who are those guys? Like, I've
Yeah.
never even heard of one of those guys.
So I think I think what we want to hear is initial takes on standings, and we'll start off with Dane.
Kind of how we expected it. My predictions were right. Don't go back and look at them. We got one of the teams right. First Crusade VCU is near the top, 2-0 as well. But 2 of the only team that wait, let me back up. I was the only one to put my team in the top half of the standings. Everyone else put it lower. But everyone, including myself, put Dogecoin near the bottom. Granted, I feel like they had a weak schedule. Like they played Sniped and Everfrost team that didn't know how to draft.
Yeah.
So their 2-0 looks a bit kind of sus to me, but everything else has kind of gone kind of the way I was thinking of it. Maybe Apes together strong, not doing so great. Also was a little bit weird, but
Would you even say that just by strength of schedule, you don't expect Dogecoin to go to the moon? You expect them to fall off in the later weeks, or even the most recent coming week in week 2?
it depends on who they're playing. I forget who they're actually playing. I can go check real quick though. They're
It
playing Apes to the
depends.
moon. Never mind, they're going to the moon. They're gonna be 3-0.
Yeah, they get to play Apes together strong week 3, and then week 4 they go up against name pending, everyone's favorite team. So we'll have to see if Dogecoin can keep this up. What about you, Tristan? How you feeling about your personal team? You are one of the 2-0s right now.
Oh, man, I'm feeling pretty good. This is the season that I win MVP. My team is backing me up. They're 4 supports and me. Daniel is the best support, obviously, but it's okay. Either way, our team's pretty good. We're up there. We're 2-0. A little shaky starts in both of our games, but as soon as we hit our stride, we ended the game like 10 minutes later in both of them. So the rest of the standings, I got completely wrong. I didn't get any of these teams anywhere near right. Like, what is Washington Everfrost doing in 10th? I put them first, so that's not right, obviously. Dogecoin is in first for some reason. Congrats to them, but I didn't see that happening. And Sniped isn't in last. So partially because they've only played 1 game, but Sniped is not in last. So I think that's a win for them.
What I will say about the current standings that we're looking at in the VCU LCS, the logos, they're getting better every year, apart from obviously Rams of Vendetta. That's terrifying. But the logo just continue to get better season after season. Vineet, how are you feeling about the standings right now? And more importantly, how are you feeling about the logos?
Um, the logos are great. The boys and like you said, the Rams are a little bit jarring to say the least. But the rest of them look pretty good. As for the standings, like Tristan and Dane said, other than Dogecoin and Washington Everfrost, it's actually kind of going pretty unsurprisingly. I think other than those two teams, Apes maybe, but Apes was overhyped to start with anyway. So I think it's just Dogecoin overperforming and Washington Everfrost underperforming by a lot.
Yeah, we'll have to see if these standing can even out as the weeks go on. I say this is a roundup. Let's start looking at the individual matches we've seen in the last week and a half. First off, we have Rams of Vendetta going up against the boys that you know, just called the boys. Dane, how you feeling about this one? Elvino had a pop-off performance on the Heckram, as you can see, beating Youngest Lay's team, who had a pretty standout performance last season in being a captain. This time he's actually playing jungle.
Yeah, this game was going horribly wrong for the boys. Like, Youngest Slay ganked mid twice, got 2 kills. Ganked bot, got a double kill, or got his team a double kill. They kind of almost snowballed almost snowballed away from the boys, but some insane Karuz ults, Elvino as well with the Heckram ultimates, 9 IQ player playing well. Really the team fights that just kind of wiped the floor with the kind of fairly squishy team of the Rams. And once that first team fight went horribly wrong, it just continued.
And I remember this game, I was actually casting this one, and I believe Fernie and I had a couple of questions about the draft that ROV, the Rams of Vendetta, put up. How do you feel about the draft that they put up for their first game? Youngest Lay on that carry, but falls off a bit later into the game. Tristan.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually hate their draft that much. They had a clear goal in mind, which was get ahead early and then close out the game. They just didn't close out the game. Muslim Nunu decided to play a really supportive mid lane champ to try to get Youngest Lay ahead, and it actually worked. I mean, they were 9 IQ player, was getting pretty dumpstered early. Lee Sin just showed up mid lane over and over and over and over and kept killing him. Now, luckily, Elvino managed to sneak back a few trade kills here and there, which gave 9 IQ some assists and let him get his Victor passive stacked up a little bit faster so he actually could be relevant. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like a 7, 8, 9K gold lead or something at one point for Rams of Vendetta. So they executed their game plan correctly in the early game. They just had a lot of communication errors, I guess. I don't know. People got a little bit too hype. Youngest Lay got caught a couple of times, and their team fights just really fell apart. But I have to say, I was impressed with their bot lane, at least still. Even in the loss, people expected Kim and Eric's P to be one of the worst bot lanes in the league, but at least in the laning phase and into the early game, they were kind of hard stomping their lane matchup and actually were contributing pretty well to that early game takeover.
Yeah, great breakout performance from Kim and Eric's XP. And I wish that we had the actual damage charts from the slide as well, because I think that 9 IQ is actually putting up a very big number despite his low kill count. Vineet, how do you feel about 9 IQ player in this performance?
9 IQ player is generally he's more of, he won't solo carry your game, but he provides damage from a long way away from the team fight. So he's not going to play stuff like Akali, Echo, and stuff like that, but he will play like we saw the other day, Ziggs, Victor, and I'm expecting some other mages, maybe a Nivea. So he'll always put damage in for the team. He will just never be the reason you win a game. In my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, and these control mage players that are able to just be a rock in the mid lane, put out consistent damage, are always great for a team to have. I say we move on to the next match, which is VSK's breakout performance against WE. Huge win from Dane's squad. I say that we just let Dane take it from here, see what he has to say about it.
Yeah, the triple kill for Jacom at the beginning of the game really put him in the right mood. Got him an early Triforce and let him just kind of control the game. Let me farm out the way I wanted to play. Get a lot of turret plates in the top lane. Then I switched to bot lane. And then once team fights came around, I was so strong. Jacom was so strong, and Proxy was just locking down whoever was like somewhat of a threat. I mean, our bot lane kind of didn't have a whole lot of many opportunities to do much, but they played well for what they were needed to do. But yeah, it was a fairly clean win, exactly how we wanted to play, and nothing really. They didn't really do anything to disrupt what we wanted to do. So just
Yeah.
kind of ran them over.
How are you feeling about your bot lane this split? Because last season, Sax Muffin started off a little shaky, but then grinded the game outside of VCU LCS games and just improved so much.
Really good roams. I'm liking the attitude. I like that he plays Alistar. It's brings a tear to my eye. Makes me
Yeah.
happy. Baby Schmeat is a rock. He doesn't get tilted. Like he's gonna be struggling with a lot of the better bot lanes, since Eric Kandel and Slendermode are some of the higher ranked bot laners, and as well as the next game you'll see. But
Yeah.
once he plays some of the lower bot lanes, I think like he's gonna have at least one good or one pop off game.
Dane's expecting a field day from his bot lane in the coming matches. I think it would be pretty important to look at what went wrong for Wisher team this time around. What are you thinking, Tristan? Do you think of the draft? Do you think they played macro poorly? What's going on here?
I think if you just kept saying things, I could say yes to any of them. They did a lot of things wrong. Real quick, I do want to say, to disagree with Dane a little bit, I'm pretty sure Baby Schmeat does get tilted. I think I've actually experienced
But he
that
has
tilt a
not
couple of
gotten
times.
tilted in these games yet.
In these games,
he's
yeah.
4 in this one, not tilted at all. He's
Yeah, you clearly weren't on our Clash team. But
Do not remind me of that.
yeah, I think they just Everfrost is really struggling because they just can't get anything right. Basically, they're not finding like cohesive drafts here. Nocturne's like not good in any way. I don't really know how to say it better than that. And the Samira Rel combo isn't bad either, but like I don't know, they just couldn't get a big enough advantage in the bot lane to actually make it mean anything. And then Kriko Bonk, I don't actually have a ton to criticize for this game. He played it pretty well for being in a counter matchup. Gnar is pretty good in his Scion, and he just sat there farming. It's not his normal playstyle. Obviously, he's a Tryndamere one trick, so I didn't think it was terrible. They just didn't get enough from any of their players, and they clearly got outdrafted by VSK, who just had a better team fight comp and executed it properly. Scumbag Proxy with his Malzahar pick, and being the only one that didn't put VSK, just countered Wisher hard by being able to press R on that champ. So, did a great job.
Yeah, and this is the first of 2 losses for the Everfrost squadron. I think that Samira might be a little bit worse now that the patch came through. I'm not sure if they played this game before or after the no jump to friends patch.
before.
But yeah, okay, then that's a lot better than it would have been after. Vineet, what do you think about Washington Everfrost? You think they're going to come back later in the season? A lot of people are expecting Wisher's team to do well, as they usually do.
I think they have just a problem about how they think about the game. I think this draft wasn't too bad. I think the recent draft was terrible. They just think that they're really cocky, that they think that they can play whatever they're strong at and just win the games through that. But they got to realize that this is more of a team game, and you have to play towards your team strengths rather than just play to your individual strengths.
Yeah, definitely just need to build up that cohesion, and hopefully Washington Everfrost can get on the right track. I guess we'll move on to the next game, which is the Whoopers versus Apes Together Strong, which I think are my 2 favorite logos out of the bunch. I love the Apes Together. I don't know why it does it for me. The simplicity, it's pretty great. We got another win out of Whooper here. The other half of the Wooloo Gang bot lane, bottom 3 ADC in this one. How are you feeling about their performance? We're gonna start off with Tristan this time.
I think they're performing about exactly how I expected them to. I think that team is one of the strongest in the league. I believe I ranked them third under only First Crusade and Everfrost. But Everfrost is clearly not as good as I thought they were, so I'd probably re-rank them as either second or tied for first. They just look really good. Kaguru is really good in the top lane. He's way better than I expected him to be, and I mean solo killed dog in this game. I'm pretty sure a couple of times. So if he's able to continue to play even or just straight up beat higher ranked top laners with these tank matchups where normally you just sit back passively and do nothing, they're gonna be pretty hard to beat because that's their, in my opinion, he should be their weak link, but he hasn't been. So it looks really hard to abuse that team anywhere. Kolma looks like one of the better junglers in the tournament. There just there weren't that many junglers to begin with, but he went pretty early and looked pretty good. Bottom 3 ADC and Blue Ches here. Hard to argue with a 2-0-27 KDA by the end of the game. Just played pretty well. I don't think it was too hard to win this game with how good their team was carrying around the map. I mean, you can look at a Raymate there at 16-1, and they didn't have to do a whole lot, but just being able to win lane against Balraga and Jay Steiny and play that game out, because Balraga and Jay Steiny, I think, are one of the better bot lanes in the tournament. Shows a lot about their team strength overall. And then a Raymate, his Diana's okay. So
Yeah, just all right on the Diana. Balrog and Jade Steiny had a bit of a rough first game performance. And another thing that you guys might want to notice is that this is the third game we've looked at so far, the third win with Hecarim winning the game. Is Hecarim broken, Vineet?
The champion itself, no, but he's very easy to execute. So in a situation like VCU LCS where Malphite is so high priority, and champs that just like Deathball are so high priority, Hecarim is a great fit. I think individually though, the champion is not busted. He is not as strong as Udyr or I guess back then Graves, Talia, champions like that, but he fits really well into low mechanical scale but very high damage output.
Yeah, definitely a lot better with this VCU LCS. Maybe less cohesion than a higher up league. Also, I think we should talk about it again a little bit. Array's 16-1-9 performance on the Diana. How deep do you think this guy champion pool goes? Is Diana a worthy ban, or is he going to pop off from anything he's on? Dane?
It's a kiddie pool. He's got a few champs that he's good at, and he'll pop off with. But the rest of it, he got carried by everybody else. Just Diana just gets a lot of kills. It looks bad, but there's not a whole lot to playing Diana.
Well,
I do like his build though. I like the way he built.
interesting take by Dane. Array, sorry, 61-9. Maybe do a little bit better. Maybe.
I'm disappointed. Needed at least 20 kills in that game.
Kill participation, not even 30. A little rough. Your team had 36 kills. How come you're only part of 25 of them? Pretty dominant win for the Wooloo, or not Wooloo game, the Wooper gang this time. The Wooper Syndicate, that's what they're called. 36-7. I think we should move on to the next match, though. Apes together. Hopefully, we'll come back in the future. This time we have Red Lightning's team. The boys on the First Crusade of VCU versus the name pending team. How did you feel about this match going into it? I'll just let you break it down, Red Lightning.
We were pretty confident going into the game. We thought we were a pretty good team, and we had done, I'd say, about as well as we expected to in our early practices and scrims. So we went in. We did get a little bit behind. There was a couple of mess ups on communication, and the game took a little bit longer than we expected it to. We actually got a pretty decent gold deficit early into the game, but we realized that we outscaled, we had a better team comp, and we chilled for about 30 seconds before they started running it down to us. And from there, we just took over the game and won it. I do think Name Pending is actually a pretty good team. I think they're better than I gave them credit for originally, and I think if Big Ichi can play as well as he did this game, his 7.76 KDA doesn't look that great at the end, but at one point, to get their gold lead that they had and to get ahead in the beginning, I mean, it was all him. He was just absolutely clapping people around the map. I just remember losing one fight. I died for the first time that game. I look up and he's got 7 kills, and it kind of blew my mind. So he played really well. I just want to give him a shout out. But as you can see, First Crusade is just too good.
And I think you have to recognize that Victor definitely gets a lot stronger than Syndra as the game goes on. He turns into an unstoppable killing robot man machine, while Syndra does Syndra things from 10 minutes to an hour. And next we have, let's see, we have Pooh on the Nunu. I honestly want to hear from Tristan again. Do you guys think you're going to be in the future drafting Nunu over and over again because he's such a powerful pick? He's so cool.
Yes.
Just he's a young man, very very cool, very calm, collected, rolls a snowball around, very insane champ. What do you think?
Pooh's a new one trick, so he could only play that champion. So we're gonna pick it every single game.
Okay. Message to all other VCU LCS teams: banning Nunu is banned.
Wait, let
That's
me
a
write that
new
down. Let me
VCU
write that
LCS
down.
rule. Yeah, you can't ban him.
Yeah, he's a one trick. Don't do that. Let the man have his champ. Ban all the other one tricks though. You're not allowed to
Yeah,
one
yeah.
trick in this tournament unless you're on my team.
And how are you feeling about the comp discrepancy between name pending and Red Lightning team, the something of VCU, Dane?
Actually, it's not that bad. I feel like, yeah, you have your death ball and eventually Ornn, Nunu, as well as the long range carries are going to outscale pretty much anybody. But the name pending's mid team fights is really good. You can run in the they get a lot of engage with Syndra Stun, Hecarim ult. So I see why they picked this team. Need a little bit more out of the bot lane. I like the Senna build, and I didn't actually get to watch this game, but the idea with Senna Nami is that you're going to be able to get your Kled and Hecarim really fed, and then be able to keep them alive as they dive into the backline. But was unable to do it. Eventually, yeah, as I said earlier, Ornn Nunu is going to be so hard to get through and actually get to the Caitlyn Victor. But overall, I like what I saw from the little bits I did see the game. I think Kled is not the strongest at the moment, but you can make it work. But this game just didn't work out.
And Hecarim was picked again this game as well. 4th game in a row. 4 for 4. We've seen Hecarim. Let's move on to the next slide. See what other teams were playing this week. And that's another Dogecoin victory over Sniped.
Another Hecarim game, by the way.
Another Hecarim game, by the way. Goner on the Hecarim. Another Hecarim loss, though. So now Hecarim's 3 wins, 2 losses, and what we've seen equivalent in the pop-off Orianna performance. And I think 4G was playing very well on the Rel, too. They had the Rel Samira bot lane. How are you feeling about their performance, Vinny?
I thought the lane itself went pretty bad for Dogecoin's team, actually. I think Goner especially did a pretty good job early in the game to get some kills to their bot lane and get some gold spread around. Later into the mid game, they messed up a little by just keep concentrating the gold on the Kai'Sa, and then she built the wrong build, and things went down from there. But early in the game, the Dogecoin's bot lane was absolutely inting it for no reason.
Okay, I'm looking at this when you said Kai'Sa went the wrong build. I'm staring at it and I'm a bit aghast. Would this a possibly a situation where you sell all your items at the end of the game and then buy a Ravenous Hydra?
Uh,
Or would this say an intentional build by Iron?
It was
Hearts?
intentional. I was there.
It
It,
was an
happened.
Intentional build.
I was intentional. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it looks like he doesn't have a mythic, but I could swear
does.
he bought Kraken,
He does. Yeah,
Kraken Slayer.
He had Kraken. He went then Runaan's Collector. Then he built GA or Ravenous and then GA for some reason. Both of those items you don't need in the situation you're in, and it just hurts your build more than it really helps it because you're just removing damage value out of your overall build.
Now, Vineet, what situation do you believe Ravenous Hydra is a good item on the Kai'Sa?
I think for Kai'Sa especially, it's probably not even very situationally buildable. I think the idea he was thinking was with the Q, he gets a lot of Q and autos. He gets a lot of healing from Ravenous, but I don't really think that's worth it if you are giving up a damage slot.
It's also the AOE. At least that's
Yeah,
what he told
but
me. He
you
gets
have
with the
Runettes
Runes.
already.
Well, yeah, it's just doubling down on it. So maybe just went a little too hard with trying to get so much AOE and not just focusing on single target.
Yeah, a little wild. We'll have to see if he pulls it out next time he gets the Kaisa in his hands. We also have a Viego jungle performance, 6, 7, and 15. A bit of a pop-off, if you ask me. How do you feel about the Viego, Dane?
It did not look good. Yeah, it got kind of bailed out by the fact that he was involved in team fights later in the game. But
I mean,
early
I wanna-
on, he was straight running it. Like
I
his
want to
target
jump in there a
selection
little
wasn't
bit.
great. Yeah, go for
He
it.
did solo kill Goner, like level 3 in his jungle,
Mm.
so it wasn't all bad. He you know. it
No,
wasn't all
let him
bad.
flame me, dude. I fucking ran at this game. There's no other way to
Oh,
say it.
Okay, but
He
Dane,
got
you
a
can
solo
flame some
kill
more.
and then got way too confident and then ran it straight down. And that's
Yeah,
why
yeah. Sounds
Ironheart
about
Classic
right.
got him.
Sounds about right. I overestimated my damage and I ran it down. Keep flaming me, Dane. I deserve it.
Well,
Now-
shush. You don't get to
Dane,
talk.
what I would
My-
like
my
to
time.
hear from you is if you think that Viego jungle is just not a great pick right now, if it's possibly player error on the pick.
It's definitely player error. Like you saw the potential with it, with what Red Lightning said about having the early jungle pressure, being able to invade and 1v1 people. That's where he thrives. But the skirmishes needs to be a little bit more cautious about who is he targeting and not running into everybody and dying. Like you need to be able to get your ult off, survive that first bit of burst, and he just wasn't able to do that early on. You're just lucky that Equivalent had 10 CS a minute and was murdering everybody. And as well, Parabellum also eventually got pretty fed as well.
And speaking of which, I'd love for Tristan to just touch on Equivalent's performance before we move on to the next slide. Do you think you're going to be able to keep up this high octane gameplay? 10 CS a minute, 9-0 and 14. What a pop off!
The dude's just too good. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get how he's this good, but he's played 2 games now, and in both games he's just like clapped. He CS's like I want to, and has better KDAs. He's just too good. I've played with him now, and in a couple of normal games, and he clapped just that hard in the normal games as well. So, I don't know, man. This guy's just insane. I think he's probably at this point the best mid in the tournament.
And I'm sure you have to be proud of that performance so far, going up against much higher ranks than him. Unless I'm viewing a wrong account, it looks like he was plat 4 before.
Yeah, and now he's like gold 4 right now, I think, with like a 16% win rate. So
a bit of a rough one, but he's popping off compared to the likes of Wisher, who's now in Diamond 4, and I'm sure there's someone else. Array also like not a mid, maybe a mid. I don't know. Let's move on to the next slide.
he's a mid. He's a mid.
That's what I thought.
He didn't.
We already
His
talked
rank
about it,
account
too.
isn't dime. There isn't. Whatever his rank isn't from playing mid though.
Yeah, he's an AD main.
Yeah.
Squad
Let's move on to the next game. Another VSK game against Apes Together Strong. This will give Apes Together Strong their second defeat of their first 2 weeks, and VSK their second win. Dane, how about you just touch on the Kale performance? Insane
I got the
carry.
blind Kale. That was a little bit disrespectful. I banned out his best champions and then said, "You can't kill me. I'll eventually outscale you and win." But also, it was to fit in with the team comp. Proxy wanted to play Malphite mid, and I had already picked Olaf. So it's like I have some great people to ult when they dive in, and also we needed some damage since Malphite mid. So Kale it was. Then I kind of just had free reign to do what I wanted. The first few levels were a bit scary. Had to play not like how I usually play. But once I hit range, I was able to just kind of bully him whenever I wanted to. And then from there, I had some nice quality roams top lane to get me ahead. And then just kind of took over in team fights after that, then from there it was just clean win.
Yeah, and I'm just a little bit curious on what you were running for runes this game. Were you going the fleet footwork or the press the attack Kale build?
Fleet footwork. I feel like you need to sustain. Like you don't want to rely on your W. It's too mana hungry after they nerfed it a while back. So I like the movement speed as well from Fleet footwork. Before I go, I was promised that to tell everyone that Proxy is the rock in the mid lane.
Literally?
Slander.
Literally.
Dude,
Slander.
it's scumbag proxy, man. This dude, he's a scumbag mid player, and he
He's
didn't.
come bad if you don't play with him.
True.
He's
I
a
guess.
genius. I think he's a genius.
And that's a great
Savage.
performance out of Proxy on the Malphite. 4-3-15. Went the big Malphite build with the Gauntlet and a Zonias to keep them alive. Definitely a great pick into a melee mid like the Silas. How are you feeling about the Malphite mid, Tristan?
Like the pick overall. I actually think the Silas is like a huge counter pick. It didn't really work out this game, but letting Silas have a Malphite ult to take is never necessarily good. The Silas was actually a counter pick, so it's not like they picked it into it or anything. But I think Silas can beat up on Malphite in lane, and yeah, he's
You
just
saw the
better.
solo kill.
What was that?
You saw the solo kill, and he killed
Yeah.
him twice.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have an amazing game, but just the potential of him taking a Malphite ult and using it with full AP, whereas Malphite's unless he builds full AP, isn't going to do damage, and Silas is just a much better champion if Malphite goes full AP. Yeah, it's kind of a counter pick, but it worked out really well. They used the Malphite super good. I mean, they kept going top lane. Proxy and J-Clem constantly just walked top and dove dog under his turret. It was the easiest dive to execute in the world. Just Malphite ult in. World Ender drops the Kale ult to make him invulnerable, and then everybody walks right back out, and dog's dead. So they used it really good. They executed their game plan super well, and had a pretty clean game overall.
Yeah,
Sub 30
great game.
minutes.
Yeah, a pretty insane game by the boys on VSK. Moving down the line, I think it's important to talk about the bot lane. Bayo, Raga, and Jay Steiny had another pretty decent performance, definitely the best on their team. Some would say that they outlaned Baby Schmeat and Sax Muffin. How are you feeling about the shining light on the side of Apes Together Strong, Vinny? Do you think they're going to be able to claim a victory through this avenue?
Those some people would be extremely right because VSK's bot lane got absolutely gapped. I think their top lane really underperformed, or top side really underperformed for Apes. But this bot lane, if they had a stable top side, could definitely carry some games. I also think Kaiser Overlord did not play that bad. He was actually kind of decent, and it's a really good Silas game because you have Alistar, Kale, and Malphite. But their top lane was really just smurfing it in the bot lane. There were some mispositionings in team fights, but at that point, it really didn't matter if you mispositioned or not. The Kale Olaf would just run through your team for no reason, I guess.
Yeah, and looking into the future weeks, sorry, Dane, I'll let you say your piece in
No,
a second.
I got mine out.
Okay.
We ran through your team because we could, and it's Olaf.
Yeah.
What I'm most curious about is what team comp do you think Apes Together Strong needs to draft that will give Bayraga and Steiny the support that they need to be able to carry?
They need a utility topside. No more of this carry stuff coming out from Dog. We need an Ornn. We need maybe if you want damage, pick Mordekaiser or something. Just something to help Bayraga carry rather than being a carry threat yourself.
You
heard it here first.
Might work.
It's time to make Dog an E-Boy Malphite player.
E-Boy Malphite player is how you climb. Let's move on to the next match. Next one, we have the Everfrost, the Washington Everfrost versus Dogecoin, with Dogecoin's second victory, Everfrost's second loss, equivalent having another great performance, this time on the Corki. How you feeling about it, Tristan?
What can I say? He's just too good. Once again, he nearly Flame Horizoned Wisher in CS in the mid lane by the end of the game. Corki is just... I don't think Corki's a great champion. It worked out pretty good in this matchup, but he's just so weak early, he actually can do nothing, and he's pretty easy to punish in the mid lane, but He survived an early gank from the Jarvan and then just sat there and had Wisher shoved into his turret literally the entire game, just out CSing him the whole time. It is a range versus melee matchup, so you would expect the Corki to out CS a little bit, but not necessarily a Flame Horizon. And Wisher just couldn't find any angles to basically do anything the entire game. He couldn't leave and go look for kills, and he couldn't find kills onto Corki, so he just was basically non-existent. And I'm just really impressed that Equivalent was able to do that.
And Wisher did pull out one of his signature picks in this game where he kind of griefed the Akali pick. I'm curious, coming from Dane, do you think Akali is a good pick right now? Do you think that she should be banned from Wisher's pool for the time being?
I wouldn't say you can get away with it if they draft like this. Like there's no other follow up. Like maybe the Jarvan can help a little bit, but the rest of the team is just so weak compared to the other team. Like there's no way Kali is going to be able to get around the Rel and Malphite, find a Corki or find a Kaisa fairly consistently. So it was not the move. He also kind of got pushed in lane. Like he couldn't really do a whole lot on the map. So like
Yeah.
everything went wrong for Wisher this game pretty much. Like every lane loss except for top go bonk.
Yeah, definitely a rough match all across the board for them. Also have Parabellum, I'm assuming it's not Parabellum, and 4G, who had another pop-off performance in the bot lane. And the inting Viego turned into a not inting Echo. Vinny, how about you touch on the Echo jungle performance before we move on?
I think okay, so. I'll just start out with saying that I thought yes, Dogecoin's comp was a lot better, but I wasn't a huge fan of them rounding out their comp with Corki. Mostly because Echo usually needs a good 2v2 to be useful, but in this case, he was just not punished for the stuff he was doing. I think Corki in general is a good pick. I just wasn't a huge fan of it here. I think this game was pretty much just 4G diffing everyone. Even the Equivalent had, I think, before Wisher died from 4G's roam, Equivalent had like a 10 to 15 CS lead, which is not bad at all for Wisher, because he's expected to be down that much. So I would not say this game was a mid gap. As good as Equivalent's ended the game stats look, I think it was pretty much a support gap. 4G just smurfed the hell out of this game.
Yeah, 4G definitely looking like an expert level support player on this lineup. And I think we have one more match to look at to recap real quick. Let's move on to the next one. And we have the signature Red Lightning pick, bringing in a dominating performance, ignoring the Jhin, who might have carried a bit. And also another new performance. Tristan, we're going to let you talk about your team real quick.
Yeah, I don't know why they highlighted that Jhin. I mean, Daniel was just really part of the supporting cast to make Red Lightning look good. But no, actually, Daniel just smurfed that game so hard. It was a little bit of a rough early game. Tried to bite off a little bit more than we could chew. But after a tactical 30-minute pause in the middle of the game, we took the game back in our hands, and Daniel just nobody could touch him, and he was just murdering everybody. I mean, he played that game about as well as any AD carry could have played. So I'm super impressed with that. And then I do want to point out, I mean, I think Sly Brad also had a great performance against Major Chris. It's not like Major Chris is a super high ranked top laner or anything, but definitely did more than his fair share of the carry work. Had a CS lead the entire game, absorbed a lot of gank pressure, and I don't think he ever died to a gank. Or at least got out of most of them, and had one play where he went just a little bit too deep, but that was mostly due to a slight communication error where we had split calls of let's go in and let's not. So not really his fault, but I don't know. He's just been playing very well. I don't think anybody played poorly. I don't think this team has any weak links, to be honest.
That's great to hear. We all know it's very important to ice out your opponents for 30 minutes to get any easy victory. I'd love Dane to talk about the Aatrox right now. Is Aatrox a good pick in the meta right now? Coming from an Aatrox, I would even say one trick from back in the day.
from back in the day. I now have a huge champion pool, unlimited champion
I'm
pool.
giving you a benefit. Take it.
It looked good. I enjoy this matchup though. Versus Aatrox into set, you kind of just can fight each other, and Aatrox eventually wins. As long as something doesn't go horribly wrong early, it's definitely Aatrox favored. But he played it well. Did get a little, did get a little carried by 0-6 or 6-0 mid and 0 or 9-0 bot, but he played it well. I was proud of him. Nothing really too wrong to point out. Going in deep is just part of the job description. Like you're trying to get those alt resets. Like that's what you're here to do. So I wouldn't even call that a mistake, even if it was a communication error. Like he knew what he wanted to do and he was going to do it or die trying.
And that's all a good soldier can hope to do. This is only the first loss for the boys, while the second win coming in for the first Crusade. What do you think, Vinny? Team diff, draft diff? Do you think the boys could come back with another win against the first Crusade if they had the opportunity?
I think the Ziggs was definitely not the pick here, but this was completely team diff. I think everyone in First Crusaders just played better than their individuals. I'm really convinced that First Crusaders created the pause to win because they were down like 2k gold before the pause, and immediately after the pause they get a kill and then like 2 turret plates. So I'm convinced that they had this schemed up.
I think we're going to have referees look at the footage and maybe check comms to see if there's any foul play going on. But for now, Red Lightning's team victory stands. And I think that was the last match that we had to look at today. And we will now be looking at the future schedule.
Yeah, we got Sniped versus Rams of Love on Wednesday. Tomorrow.
Rams of
Tuesday.
Love? I don't know that team.
Rams of Vendetta. Excuse me. Need to get the muscle memory. Is got to reinstate it.
And also, the Wooper Syndicate. Both, and these are both tomorrow according to the dates. Tuesday. Yep. Wooper Syndicate and Name Pending, both tomorrow. The first one, Snipe versus Rams of Vendetta at 10 p.m. And then following up for the double feature, the Wooper Syndicate versus Name Pending at 11 p.m. I think the other games we can talk about on another day, but I think that the week 2 games, we should get at least a little bit of a prediction from all three of you. Let's just start off with Dane for Sniped and Rams of Vendetta.
Ooh, this is a tough one. I got friends on both teams in this one, so we'll see. I think Rams and Vendetta have a better story going into it, but I'm gonna have to go with Sniped on this one. I feel like the roster switch up for Rams and Vendetta is gonna be too much. They're not gonna have enough practice together. Snipe is gonna bounce back from their week 1 loss. They're still gonna find leads in the bot lane, and then they're gonna actually finish this game off. I know Josh can do it.
And that would leave the challenger jungler at an 0-2 start. Do you feel the same way, Tristan?
Yeah, I think Sniped is going to win this one. I actually liked their performance. Originally, I thought they were super close, like back and forth game against Dogecoin was because both teams were not that great, but Dogecoin actually looks pretty good. So that makes me think Sniped might be a little bit better than I originally thought they were as well. And with the tactical withdrawal of the starting mid laner for Rams of Vendetta, I don't know how good they're going to be. So I think Sniped can probably take this one.
Yeah, definitely going to be a bit of a roster shuffle. Some maybe summoning sickness going over for the Rams of Vendetta. What do you think, Vinny? Who's going to come out on top in this 10 p.m. match tomorrow?
I will be expecting the Rams of Vendetta to win. Purely based on the fact that Snipe does not have a reasonable carry player. I think they might end up getting like a 2, 3, or 5k lead and still end up losing the game. Just because I think Rams of Vendetta has a better bot lane, and they have a carry threat in the jungle. That's pretty much the only reason. I think mid lane could be somewhere that maybe if 2 picks a champion he can carry on, that they can win through, since Johnny has not been looking too good in mid lane recently. But overall, I'd expect Rams to win.
And you never know, Youngest Lay may just roll swap mid again and pull out the Zed and see what he can do. Moving on to the 11 p.m. game, the Wooper Syndicate versus Name Pending. Who do you think coming out on top, Dane?
I think it's gonna be Whooper. I want name pending to win, but I got to go with my better judgment.
I didn't like you either.
And so I think the Whoopers seem to had a very solid dominant win, and I feel like they're going to continue and play just better.
And as we know, the Whooper Syndicate is 1-0 at the moment before this game, and name pending is 0-1. So it would follow initial reactions from the first games for the Whooper Syndicate to come on top here. What do you think, Tristan?
I agree. I think Whooper Syndicate's the better team, so they're probably going to come out on top. I kind of feel bad for name pending. I actually think they're like a decent squad, and I think they kind of got the short end of the stick when it came to the schedule. Going up against what I now believe are the two best teams, and your first 2 weeks can be a little bit discouraging. And I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome what I predict is going to be an 0-2 start. But I just think the Whooper Syndicate, they just look too good. I don't think they're going to go down to name pending. I think they're just too solid in every role.
Yeah, they're definitely looking like a rock solid Malphite-esque squadron. What do you think, Vinny? Are you going to go against the tide again, thinking that name pending will come out on top, or Whooper Syndicate?
I will not be predicting against my own team. I do think we will win. I think I agree with what Wisher said in the 1 or 2 show, that we have a pretty coin flippy early game and we're relatively weaker early game than most other teams. If we get kills, it's pretty self-explanatory. If we get kills, we win. If we don't, we don't. But I think we're pretty confident against this team in team fights. I think they don't have a cohesive team fight layout, so I think no matter what, the Whoopers will win.
Nice, and that's all predictions for the Week 2 matches. You can see the Week 3 matches on your screen. Reigns of Vendetta versus the First Crusade of VCU. Washington Everfrost versus Snipe, the Whooper Syndicate versus the Boys. Apes Together Strong versus Dogecoin to the Moon. And VSK, whatever that stands for, against name pending. All coming up in Week 3. I think that was the entire recap of the first week and a half. And that was the VCU Roundup. Thank you, Dane, Tristan, and Vineet, for giving your opinions. Pretty insane. Lots of fun.
Indeed, I enjoy giving my opinions. I enjoy
Yeah.
playing with people.
It's a good time. I have no other opportunity to sit down and force people to listen to what I have to say. Even though what I have to say is obviously the most important thing anybody's going to hear. So I love this platform, and I look forward to doing this every week to week and a half to 2 weeks. I don't really know how long it was since our last one. We're kind of in the middle of week 1 and 2, but
Honestly, starting week 3.
yeah. But we'll try to do this more regularly, I guess. Now that we're getting close to the halfway mark, so pretty
I like
excited.
the week and a half. I like the week and a half. It's a good time frame for like actual games to get out instead of just having like only a few games to look over.
Definitely great to go with the week and a half with how VCU LCS teams managed to schedule so poorly. Thank you for watching, guys. It was a great pod. Have a great night.
Peace out, y'all. And